Greetings Commanders, I'm Commander Gypsum, and today we're back with another head-to-head comparison with the Anaconda and the Corvette. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to outfit them both similarly, and we're going to put them out into a hazardous resource extraction site to see how they stack up and see who can get the most credits. Alright, should be interesting. Let's head out to the loadouts, and we're going to be starting with the Anaconda. Alrighty, so we're going with regular alloy panels, a power plant, A7 thrusters, A6 frameshift drive, Delta life support, A8 power distributor, Delta sensors, regular fuel tank, A7 shield generator, and 2 A6 shield cell banks. Sticking on a fuel scoop, and we've got 3 hull reinforcement packages here. A couple cargo racks, planetary vehicle hangar, and of course an advanced discovery scanner and planetary approach suite, because I like a more well-rounded ship. Alright, for weapons we're going with a huge cannon, large cannon, dual large pulse lasers, dual medium pulse lasers, and dual small cannons here on the aft of the ship, a kill warrant scanner, and some shield boosters. And of course a couple heat sinks so we can use our shield cell banks. And the rest is shield boosters. Alrighty, so let's go to our power management here. We don't have to do a whole lot of power management here with the Anaconda, but we do want to move around a couple modules here, like our planetary landing bay, our frameshift drive, cargo hatch, fuel scoop, and for our fire groups, we're doing pulse lasers in fire group 1, cannons fire group 2. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for the Anaconda. Now for the Corvette, we're going with lightweight alloy hull, a power plant, A7 thrusters, A6 frameshift drive, Delta life support, a power distributor, Delta sensors, an A7 shield generator, and 2 A7 shield cell banks, A6 fuel scoop. Now we're leaving these empty to save on weight. And we got a planetary vehicle hangar and advanced discovery scanner. Oh, quite the loadout here. Alright, we're going with dual huge cannons in the back. We're going with a large pulse laser underneath. And on the sides we're going with 2 gimbaled pulse lasers. And for the small, we're going with 2 gimbaled beam lasers. A couple heat sink launchers for our SEBs. And the rest is shield boosters. We did not fit a kill warrant scanner on this one, so we're not going to be using kill warrant scanner on the Anaconda either. Now for power management, we do have to be a little bit aggressive with our power management here. We're in the planetary vehicle hangar, frameshift drive, fuel scoop, and cargo hatch. Alright, so you can see here we've got all of our lasers fire group 1, cannons in fire group 2. Alright, so here we are entering into the res. We got weapons out, we're all ready to go. And now we're going to skip ahead until we get our first shots fired. Alright, so it looks like we're opening up with an Anaconda for both ships. Nice little coincidence. This is an interesting thing. Which one actually gets shot out of the sky first? Now, of course, not all Anacondas are going to act the same way, but still an interesting indicator of things to come, perhaps. Looks like shields are down on both ships. Corvette's got them down into the 40s. The Anaconda's just into the 60s right now. Ooh, looks like the power plant is out for the Corvette's Anaconda. Well, maybe the same for the Anaconda. Alright, so the Corvette one explodes. Looks like right before the Anaconda's Anaconda.
Target destroyed.
Yeah, interesting. So maybe the Corvette takes an early lead. So one thing I noticed kind of flying both of these is they kind of seem like they are inverse of each other, if you will. Like the Anaconda has lots of lasers, and it's only got the one huge mount. So let's say you want to play it a little conservative, put one huge cannon, one large cannon. So you're going to have a lot more lasers than cannons. And the Corvette on the other side of the house has the two huge, but the lasers kind of suck for the Corvette, to be honest. I mean, you've got two medium and two small, and the medium's in a good place, and the small is in a fantastic place. But I really have to wonder why they went with those sized hardpoints. Like, you'd think you would want the best hardpoints, you know, right out in front, like where the two small are. I'd like to see those as mediums, I think. And the medium should be large. And I would be in favor of just scrapping the large hardpoint that's under the ship. Because really, if you're going to get that to fire, the target pretty much has to be right in front of your ship. So it's not very often that you're going to have all lasers firing at the same time if you make them all lasers. Where the Anaconda, where I have it set up, is I got the two large and the two medium lasers there on top. And you can usually get a pretty decent firing arc. And then if you want to fire the cannons, you arch the nose up and then you can get the cannons off. So it's definitely interesting placements here for the hard points, especially for the Corvette. Very good placement, but weak hard points, I think. So just looking at the stats here that we have on the screen, we can see some interesting similarities and differences here. The Corvette has one less hard point, which isn't that big of a deal, really. The armor is completely off, and that is because of the jump range. Now, if you look at the jump range of the Anaconda, it's got an excellent 18.21 light year jump range. And the Anaconda has always been known for a really good jump range, so that's nothing new. So since we've got such a great jump range on the Anaconda, we can stack on the military grade hull plating, and we can stick on some hull reinforcement packages and still have a phenomenal jump range. Which for me is important, because I like to move about the bubble, and man, it just takes forever getting anywhere with a ship like the Corvette. Like right now, it's got kind of a maximum jump range you can have and still have some decent weapons. 12.99. You can get maybe 13, I think, .01 or something kind of stupid, tiny amount increase if you replace the huge hard points with like large gimbaled lasers. Then you get, basically 13 light years, which is pretty much the same as it is right now. And 13 light years can get pretty old when you're trying to get around the bubble. Like, doing these videos, I make a lot of trips between Jameson Memorial and Crick City. Because this is where I like to hunt. I like to go to Jameson and do my outfitting, because it's got, all of the parts, and you get the 10% discount. So it's super convenient. But it's like 110 light years away. And the military ships can be just a real pain in the butt going back and forth. They can take, 11, 12 jumps sometimes, depending on the ship. And that's just a waste of time. Like, if I want to take the Anaconda there and back, it's like 6 jumps, 7 jumps. And that equates to about a 5-minute transit, which isn't too bad. But with a ship like the Corvette, you try to make that transit, and it ends up taking, 13, 14 minutes, depending on the exact route you're taking, because some stars are farther away from each other. So even though you've got that 12.99 light year jump range, sometimes you're still jumping 7 or 8 light years just because the stars aren't in a grid pattern. They've got different distances between them. And the FDL is also a victim of that poor jump range. That ship is also right around 13 light years with a military layout. Now, if you want to tack on like the military grade composite stuff like that, it's going to drop even further. So a lot of the times, I will focus on my shields, making sure they're as strong as they can, and then kind of leave the hull alone, because adding all that hull drops down the jump range so far. It's just a real pain in going. And if Crick City was a more advanced starport, you know, maybe I would have better luck finding parts, but this place, I think it's like agricultural, so you don't really get a whole lot of parts there out of this base. But I really like it because of the visuals. I mean, if you watch this RES hunt, the background is just phenomenal. You got the Earth-like planet in the background, and you can also see that purple planet with rings. It's just a great place to do a hunt. You know, great visuals. And not to mention that the RES is right outside of the station. Yeah, it takes maybe 15-20 seconds to go from the RES to the station. So I really like that. I don't like those long transits to the RES and back. Like my home port used to be in Beta 1 Tucane at Adams Orbital, and that's a great station. It's a high-tech, so it's got a lot of modules there, but you end up taking a little bit of transit time to get between the station and the RES. So yeah, once I found Crick City, I just moved the fleet out here, and this is pretty much where I hang out these days. But that's all besides the point. So let's get back to the Anaconda and the Corvette here. Now, if you haven't flown either of these, they do fly quite differently from each other. The Anaconda is a large ship, but it handles more like a medium ship. Like, the pitch rate is better than the Python, which is interesting. So the Anaconda is actually fairly maneuverable. Now, as long as you can use flight assist off and fly in reverse and all the usual tricks for the big ships, the Anaconda actually handles fairly well. Now, the Corvette, of course, being a military ship, the maneuverability is actually even better than the Anaconda. So I can't imagine the kind of G-forces these guys are pulling on the Corvette. They must be just strapped right in. If they're in a fight, nobody moves. Because they could be pulling all kinds of G-forces, so it maneuvers very, very well. You're still going to be using flight assist off, but you don't really fly in reverse as much. But I guess to compensate for that great maneuverability, the ship speed doesn't accelerate or decelerate very well. So you're kind of drifting a lot more than maybe you would with the Anaconda, where it's a little bit more responsive. So a little bit more drifting, but it's so maneuverable you don't really get yourself into trouble. Like I remember back when I used to fly the Clipper in the RESs, that ship is prone to drifting. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up kind of like T-boning an asteroid or something like that, and blow yourself up, which happens, you know, if you're not careful. And the shields aren't that great, so the Anaconda and Corvette both have really great shields. If you do hit a rock, you know, it's not that big of a deal usually. So the speed is pretty much identical with these ships. You can see the Anaconda's top speed is 204. That's, you know, 4 pits, 2 engines, and the Corvette's is 211. So it's got, you know, just 7 more meters per second, which isn't really perceivable, I don't think. And the boost speed is almost identical, 272 and 274. So as far as just top speed and boost speed, fairly identical. You know, they're right on par with each other, which is interesting. You know, I think I would want the Corvette to be faster all around, because after all, it is the military ship, so it should be able to go faster than, say, the Anaconda, which is supposed to be just a hauler, just a huge hauler. Alright, so let's look at the price of the Anaconda and Corvette. The Anaconda with this outfitting is just under 500 million, which is pretty good. Now, if you were to equip the military-grade bulkheads, you're going to be tacking on like another about 120 million. So that's, you know, pretty pricey. You're getting about the 520 range, and that's pretty pricey. You're starting to look at a insurance rate of 26 to 28 million. And man, that is a lot to lose, you know, if you make a mistake and end up losing your ship. Now, the Corvette is also quite expensive. I think it's around 40 million more, basically, for just the hull than the Anaconda. And if you want to stick on the military grade, that's going to be, I think, another 160 million. So that can really get up there very quickly. The Corvette's coming out to be more expensive on this loadout, pretty much just because of the hull. And the hard point is maybe a little bit different because it's got an extra huge that the Anaconda doesn't have. So, you know, the price is going to come out a little bit more on there. Not to mention that it's got the 3 Class 7 internal compartments for the Corvette. So you can fit the A7 shield and 2 A7 SCBs, which is a lot of shield strength right there. Just tons and tons of shield strength. But those come at a price. They're very, very expensive to equip. So that's going to be a big part of that price as well. So of course that jacks up your insurance. So you're looking at 27, almost 28 million for insurance. And again, that's a lot of money to lose if you get blown up. Yeah, if I were to lose one of these ships, I'd have to sit down for a little cry. Maybe take a break from Elite Dangerous and then come back a little later. That's a bit of a hit. You know, that could, if you just do, say, a little bit of RES Bounty Hunting every day, that's about a week's worth of bounty money. Just if you're bounty hunting maybe a half hour to an hour a day. So yeah, no fun losing a week's worth of cash. So another thing we got to talk about with these ships is rank requirement. Now the Anaconda, of course, doesn't have a rank requirement. If you've got the credits, you can go ahead and get the ship. You know, not a big deal. The Corvette, on the other hand, you do have to have Federation rank to purchase it. And the rank required is Rear Admiral, which is quite a significant amount of time required to reach that rank. So if you are one of those commanders that have been around since launch or back in the beta, it probably wasn't too big of a deal for you, because you used to be able to get rank very, very easily. I'm trying to remember when it changed, and I believe it was in 1.3 where they changed how easy it is to get rank. Because I made, like, Baron in the Empire, just not even trying, just doing basic bounty hunting and doing some missions. And I made Baron, you know, pretty quickly, so I could get the Clipper. And I didn't really focus on Federation rank, because at the time, the only Federation ship was the dropship. And, you know, the dropship, in my opinion, is quite ugly, and it didn't have a great loadout. It just wasn't a great ship. So the motivation to try and get Federation rank really wasn't there. Besides getting the Soul system grant. I think that was really the only thing I was interested in. So I could go back and see Earth and go check out Mars and all that good stuff. Gotta go do that. But as far as ships, yeah, not really that big of a motivation back then. So I think I really only got to the rank of Chief Petty Officer for the Federation, or Federal Navy, I guess we're supposed to call it. And once they released the rank requirement for the Corvette, you know, I was not ready. I knew it was going to be higher, of course, So I did end up getting on the Toon bandwagon back when you could go to Toon and just spam the charity missions. So I went to Toon and did charity missions after charity mission after charity missions, and I made it up to Lieutenant Commander, I believe it was, and I thought that would be it. It's like, Lieutenant Commander, I can't imagine them making a rank requirement any higher than that, because it just doesn't make any sense. Lieutenant Commander is pretty much the highest thing I could think of being on a ship like this. And if you want to compare it to like real world or something like that, a Lieutenant Commander could be in charge of like a cruiser or destroyer or even a submarine. And I felt that kind of went with the Corvette well enough. I thought that makes sense. So I grinded up to Lieutenant Commander and I thought I was good to go. Until they let us know it was going to be Rear Admiral. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and by that time, Toon was patched, so you could no longer go to Toon and do the charity mission spamming. So the best way now is trying to do, let's say, long-range smuggling missions. Or if you can get lucky and get a chain of charity missions, you can still do that as well. For example, how I did it, as I found out that there was a system, 17 Draconis, and at the time it was in the middle of a famine, and then it went to bust. And during the famine, they're looking for money and food. So what I did is I got my smuggling ass filled to the brim with food, food cargoes, and went to 17 Draconis and donated food over and over and over to the donation missions. And there was also lots of charity missions because they're going to be asking for money as well under a famine. So donated lots of food, donated lots of money, and started gathering up long-range smuggling missions. And when my cargo was empty of food and full of smuggling missions, I'd go do all the smuggling missions, and those counted for the Federal Navy as well. So I ended up making my rank finally. Oh man, what a grind that was. So I haven't been on the scene lately, trying to see if there's other good planets, just do some rank grinding. But I can tell you the best way to do it is probably to look at the community site for Elite Dangerous, and they put out like notifications about the status of some systems, what systems are in famine, what systems are in bust, which ones are booming. And if you can go in there and look up the systems that are either in a bust or in a famine, and then look at the galaxy map now and find out what's in Federation space and what you can get to, it's worth checking those out, because if you can find a system that's in famine, you should be able to go out there, do a lot of donation missions, do a lot of food delivery, and grind up some rank. And that's going to work for Empire as well. If you're trying to grind rank for the cutter, I don't know why you would want to do that unless you're really into trading and want the ultimate trading ship, which is pretty much what the cutter is. It's crap combat ship. I tried desperately to make it a good fighter during the beta, and man, I just couldn't do it. It's got excellent hard points. It's got very good hard point placement, but the thing is just way too heavy, super drifty, and you just can't keep the ship in front of you, which is unfortunate. I was hoping it would be like the Empire's version. But, yeah, not so much, which is unfortunate. Alright, so it looks like we're down in the last 10 minutes of the fight, and both instances have been pretty busy. A lot of big ships. I think that maybe the Anaconda has a little bit better instance. It seems like there's a little bit more ships. There's a lot more wings, that's for sure. But the Corvette, I think, is a pretty good instance as well. I was pretty happy with both of them while I was playing. And that can be hit or miss. It looks like the Anaconda just popped off some SEBs. And I put the SEBs on the Anaconda all the way up forward so you can kind of see them float off. I like that. I think it looks pretty cool. Sort of bright lights. I suppose it could be distracting. So if it's distracting for you, make sure you use some of the utility placement towards the back of the ship so it kind of falls away from you. And that's kind of the same way with chaff as well. If you equip chaff, if you put it on the front of the Anaconda like that, it's just got, you know, stars. That it looks like someone's throwing some I can't remember, like, glitter. That's what it is. Like they're throwing glitter at your canopy. Glitter and red balls for some reason. They added that to chaff. But okay, whatever. I guess maybe those are supposed to be like heat, and the glitter's like chaff, maybe. So it's like it's going to distract heat-seeking missiles, maybe. Sort of. I don't usually use chaff though because I primarily play solo, and sometimes on Mobius, but there's no PvP going on, so there's no real reason to use chaff. But the NPCs use chaff, that's for sure. Quite annoying. But luckily, both of these ships have pretty good grouping, so if they do pop chaff, you can just unlock the target and just fire forward, basically. And you should be good. Some ships that doesn't work on at all, like the Clipper. The Clipper's hard points on its nacelles are just way too far apart. So if they pop chaff on you and just, you know, do forward fire, you're not going to hit with both. That's for sure. But I think everybody knows that about the Clipper now, so no surprises there. The FDL, you know, Fertile Lance, is also really good for when your NPC target pops chaff. You do the forward fire. The clustering there is pretty good. I was messing with the Fertile Lance build using 3 plasma accelerators, because that's kind of the silly stuff you can do with the FDL now that they changed the heat dissipation of the ship. So you can do 1 huge and 2 medium plasma shots, and a pretty good cluster, and mostly you can hit with all 3 if you're being careful, which is a little silly, but yeah, really good grouping. But I think my favorite grouping of all of the ships is with the Python. You've got the 2 large and the 2 medium, both on the top of the ship, right close together, and when they're all firing, they almost look like they're firing out of, just out of one spot. So it's just fantastic grouping on that one. And then you've got that 3rd large going under the nose, and it's right under the nose, so it's still got a clear arc of fire in the front of the ship. And I like to put a cannon there. So then you've got 2 large, 2 medium bolts, and then the 1 large cannon to do some power plant sniping. It's just, man, what a great setup on it. I just wish it had the pitch that it used to have pre-nerf. Oh man, it was such a good ship. I miss you, pre-nerf Python. But even post-nerf, it's still not a slouch, you know? When I did that comparison between the Python and the Fertile Lance, the Python actually came out ahead with credits earned, which I was not expecting. The Python, you know, takes a lot more care to keep eyes on target, so you really have to do more reverse and more flight assist off to get the Python to pitch the way you want it to. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. It actually came out ahead by not a small margin, by just about 500,000 credits. That's fairly significant. You know, that's at least 2 Anacondas worth of credits, really. It's pretty interesting difference there. Another way that the Python is a lot like the Anaconda is it's got a very good jump range. You can stick the military bulkheads on it, hull reinforcement, cargo, planetary vehicle, and still have a 15-layer jump range. It's just fantastic. It's such a great ship. Just do everything. Go land on some planets, go do some RES hunting, and go do some trading. The Python also makes a fantastic mining ship. That's just a great little ship. And the Anaconda is kind of like its big brother. You can outfit it the same exact way. Back when I was doing mining, I outfitted the Anaconda for mining, and that was a great loadout because it's got tons of internals, so you can use 2 different collector limpets, and you can put just turrets on all of the hard points, and just keep on mining. You know, pirates come and bug you, shoot at you, all the turrets just go off on it, and you just keep on mining. It's a great mining platform. I actually haven't done much with the Corvette, mostly because of the jump range. And it's, you know, crazy expensive to do outfitting. So, yeah, I haven't really done much with the Corvette besides bounty hunting, because that's what I like to do, go in the RES, shoot up the pirates. That's what I enjoy. And it's good at it, as you can see. But I don't know if it's any better than any other ship. Like we did with the comparison of the Python and FDL, the Python got like 2.5 million credits in a half hour. Yeah, it's crazy. And the Federal Assault Ship is just another fantastic pirate popper. The Vulture has been my favorite for a long time for RES hunting. But I think the Federal Assault Ship, you know, may be the ship to go to now. Alright, so we're just about to wrap this up here. We got 2 minutes left on the clock. Looks like the Corvette is engaging a gunship, and we've got the Anaconda on the Python. These might be the last ships here. We still have a full bit of time left. Man, the Corvette's cannons hit. They are devastating. You see those power plants just go down to nothing. The Anaconda looks like it's wrapping up around the Python. The Corvette's engaging a Cobra. And those lasers are going to be fine for a Cobra. Cobra's a small ship. If we can keep the Cobra in front of us here. And there we go, flying in reverse, FAL. Back on target. And the Anaconda, those lasers are in great position here, but not a whole lot of luck with the cannons. Especially those 2 small cannons. You can see they're trying to hit. Getting a little bit, but a lot of wasted shots with the cannons are in the Anaconda. I think I would keep the huge and the large cannons. I think I would change out those 2 small ones for lasers. Alright, 30 seconds to go. Anaconda's wrapping up on the Python. Did he go after it? Yeah. The Corvette has got an Anaconda. We don't have a whole lot of time on the clock here. It looks like, yeah. Okay, he's engaging. And let's see what we got here with the Anaconda. Looks like it's going to wrap up the Cobra now that the time is up. Looks like the Anaconda is taking out the Cobra. And the time is up, so it's headed out. And it looks like the Corvette is going to finish off the Anaconda here before heading back. And that seems fair. I mean, it was already engaging it before the clock went out. Looks like he's almost got the power plant out. He's firing those cannons. Oh, and the Anaconda pops a chaff. See, it's got really great grouping here, so it's no problem. hitting the ship even though it's not locked on. Alright, going back to the power plant is almost out. Power plant is out. So it should be blowing up here any second now. There we go.
Target destroyed.
Well, it looks like there's still some more ships to hunt, but the time is up, so it's time to get out of there. And it looks like it's already out of mass lock, so that's nice. Targeting Kirk City. Get a boost.
Frameshift drive
And
charging.
we are charging. And flip over for
2,
good
1,
intentions.
engage.
Alright, let's see what's happening. Alright, so here's the meat and potatoes. We got the Anaconda coming in at 2,036,226 credits, and the Corvette at 1,542,091 credits. Now, of course, we can't say this is perfectly fair because RESs do vary a little bit, but from the fight you can see it was a pretty fair comparison. Now, here's something interesting to note. Our last comparison between the Python and the FDL came up with almost the same exact scores, with the Python scoring higher than the FDL. So this is really showing me that the multi-role ships can actually do a better job in the resource extraction sites by gaining credits faster. Which is interesting because you'd think combat vessels would be the king of the res, but it looks like multi-roles are doing just a little bit better. Anyways, very interesting analysis, I think. Alright, Commanders, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and please stick around for more Elite Dangerous videos. And I'll see you, Commanders, in the black. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you thought in the comments. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to see all of my latest videos.